What's up, good people? We're back with Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition. What You Owe Me, Part 6. Hopefully you enjoyed that weekend doubler. When we left off, Miss Brenda had headed to the restroom. Angela was at the table with LJ and Regina. Angela asked LJ if whatever his tea was could hold, if it would still be piping hot in 7 to 10 business days, and he said yes. And so now Miss Brenda returns to the table. They have their breakfast. Miss Brenda has her famous French toast with her homemade syrup. And they all say their goodbyes, hugs and kisses and waves. And Angela and Miss Brenda head to the car. When they get to the car, Miss Brenda says, "Did you hear him out, baby?" Angela says, "No, ma'am. I asked him to hold it until I get through this week and the next week with everything going on with the IVF." Miss Brenda says, "Okay, I understand." Angela says, "Miss Brenda, I'm not putting my head in the sand." Miss Brenda says, I know, I understand. You are focused, as you should be, I just want you to understand that you may not have the luxury of waiting until later to find out the information that you might need to make better informed decisions for your life. But if that's what you want to do, baby, I'm here to support you." Angela says, "Miss Brenda, you sound like you know something that you're just not telling me. If you know something that I need to know, why not tell me?" Miss Brenda said, "Baby, I don't know anything specifically. That's not even what this is about. It's solely about me being a mother and having been a wife. Before I buried my husband, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. Some of them of my own doing, and some of them were on cliff. But the truth of the matter is, we didn't get through it without me confronting some real tough truths. And in the process of doing that, sometimes I broke my own heart, and sometimes I was the one who put it back together. And my advice to you, well, I promised I wouldn't give any advice. So, my suggestion is that you be open to the truth, whatever that is, and that you always face it head on. And that when you make decisions based on what's best, not just for your husband, not just for your marriage, but what's best for your soul, what's best for your purpose. Because sometimes that's not going to be what's best for your husband or your marriage." Angela said, "Well, Miss Brenda, that is a wise piece of advice. Suggestion." And they both laughed as they pulled up outside Miss Brenda's house. So Miss Brenda said, "Well, baby, let me know what you hear from the doctor. Let me know if you need me to go with you on Thursday for your implantation. And just keep me posted, okay? I'm going to keep you and my son in my prayers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to call him when I get in the house." Angela says, "Okay, Miss Brenda, you take care." Angela watches Miss Brenda walk up the stairs. She walks onto her porch. She walks into her house. She waves goodbye one more time and closes her door. Angela just shakes her head and says, "I don't know if it's intuition or if this woman knows something. But she's right. I gotta deal with this with my eyes wide open. Whatever it is, I just gotta face it. But I don't have to face it today." Angela drives off, heads into her office, and begins to get her work done. She checks in to find out what it is that she's missed, finds out what work needs to be accomplished that day, and she calls the manager into the office. Bernie, the warehouse manager, comes into Angela's office and she says, "You needed to see me, boss?" She says, "Yes, Bernie. I needed to talk with you about something. Come in, close the door, have a seat." So Bernie comes in and she closes the door and has a seat, and Angela says, "Listen, I have some things going on in my personal life that I need to handle. I have a medical procedure that I'm going to have to undergo. It's tentatively scheduled for Thursday morning, and after that procedure, I'm going to have to be out of the office for at least the next 24 hours, resting at home. From that point on, I'm going to need to work from home. I'm going to be available remotely We'll need to have all of our meetings via Zoom or phone, but I'm going to be home and working from home for at least the next week or so until I have kind of the all clear from the doctor that it's safe for me to come back into the office and do my usual stuff. I want to play it safe and just work from home. Do you feel like that's going to be a problem? Do you feel like you'll be able to handle things in the office? Bernie says, yeah, it shouldn't really be a problem. I mean, is Mr. Washington going to come in on the weekends and do the books and the inventory and all of that stuff like usual? Angela says, no, Mr. Washington is actually going to be out of town for the next few days or so. And as a result, it might be 2 weeks before he's able to come into the office and deal with all of that stuff. And Bernie says, no problem. That's not an issue at all. I will keep you posted if there are any issues, and I'll give the books a cursory glance and kind of get a basic inventory on Friday, so that way we have, a start in place for him to be able to go over that when he comes back. But I don't see that being an issue at all. You never take any time to yourself. You never take time off. Even when you leave here, every night you go home, you're checking emails. I get emails from you at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, Miss Angela. Like, it's just wild. Like, I don't know how you have the energy to do all the things that you do. Angela said, well, listen, this is my dream. This is my baby, and I have to put in the work in order to see the fruits of my labor. And now this next journey that I'm going to undertake is pretty much my baby too. And so I have to give it that same effort. So Bernie says, I absolutely understand. You have my full support. I'll hold down the fort here, and I'll only contact you if it's urgent or an emergency. Angela says, no, Bernie, that's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to work with me the same way you would if I was in the office. I'll just be at home. So I'll be working remotely. I'm not off. You don't have to handle everything. You just contact me at home as opposed to calling me in the office or coming into my office. You'll just call me at home. Bernie says, you don't know how to rest, do you? Angela says, no, not really. But whatever it takes, we'll make sure that we get it done. Bernie says, that's right, whatever it takes. Angela looks down because she sees that her phone is on silent, but it's ringing. And she sees that it's an incoming call from Regina. She answers and uses Regina's pet names. Hey, Giggles, what's up, girl? Regina says, nothing, shoddy, what's up with you? And they both laugh. Angela says, nothing, sitting in the office, just finished talking with the office manager, making sure that she has all the information that she needs, because I'm going to be out of the office for a few days. And then Regina says, oh, really? Where are you going? You going on vacation or something? Angela says, no, I'm doing my final round of IVF. It's tentatively scheduled for Thursday. Speaking of which, is there any way you can go with me to the doctor on Thursday? Regina says, go with you for your IVF implantation? She said, girl, I would be honored. But why isn't Marcus going? Angela said, well, that's just it. He's got to go out of town for some work issue that he has to go and resolve. And he's going to be gone for 5 or 6 days. And he leaves town tomorrow. Regina says, he leaves town tomorrow? Angela says, yeah. She says, listen, I know LJ told you that whatever is going on will keep, but I think you need to talk to LJ before Marcus leaves town. Angela says, sis, is it really that serious? Regina says, sis, it's that serious. When we all went our separate ways this morning, LJ and I sat down and we had a long talk. And one of the things that he told me was that he absolutely let go that grudge that he had against Marcus way back when. Once he realized that you two were serious and that y'all were basically a really good match, and he started to see me in a different light, and I started to see him in a different light, and we really started talking about the directions of our lives and We both agreed to start drinking less and taking school more serious, and everything started moving in a different direction. He really did let that stuff go. Whenever he would try to tell you things about Marcus, it wasn't because of envy or jealousy or because you and him didn't work out. It was legitimately because he had concerns. But when he realized that you all were in love and was serious about him and that he was going to be your husband, he decided to fall back. And that's why he hasn't said anything to you about Marcus since a few months before y'all got engaged. If I understand correctly, this is the first time he said something to you since then, right? Angela was like, yeah, you're right. He said, and see, usually with Marcus's cases, he doesn't clue me in on anything that's going on. We kind of keep that stuff separate from our personal lives. Cases, Angela says. So now me and Marcus are a case? Angela says, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is whatever he saw or whatever he heard really had him in detective mode. Like he went full on private investigator, and he used one of his top of the line recorders, and he was able to pick up the entire conversation. And long story short, he let me hear part of the conversation, not the whole conversation, because it's still technically your business, right? But he let me hear part of it because he just kind of wanted to check in with me and see if maybe he was overreacting and maybe it might not have been a big deal from a woman's perspective. And sis, that's why I'm calling you right now. You need to talk with LJ, and you need to hear this recording, and you need to hear it before Marcus gets on a plane tomorrow. Angela says, well, where's LJ now? He's in his office. Should I call him? No, sis. Just go over there. He's there. Matter of fact, I'll call him and tell him you're on your way right now. Just go. Angela says, you're scaring me. Regina says, I don't want you to be scared. I just want you to be careful.